Designing and building a super yacht is one of the ultimate freedoms of expression, and the award-winning Baglietto Club M perfectly encompasses that theory. She is one of the most striking and well-specified 40-metre yachts to have been launched in the last couple of years, with features and equipment levels that you'd normally expect to find on a 70-metre yacht. She's currently on the market with Christie Yachts, and we'll put a link to the listing in the description to this video, but we have an all-access pass to show you why this is one of the most special 40-metre yachts currently on the market. I'm Jack Haines, you're watching Yachtbuyer, this is Club M. Baglietto is one of Italy's oldest and most famous boat builders. Its knowledge and experience were crucial in executing the owner's exacting requirements. She is made entirely of aluminium, and the connection from bow to stern on the upper deck is a key part of the yacht's design. The ability to easily make your way around these flexible deck spaces without changing levels or traversing staircases is what sets her apart. With 2 accommodation decks, her exterior is sleek for a yacht of her length, and those razor-sharp lines are enhanced by the fact that her 3.4 metre rescue tender and water toys are concealed within garage spaces. The ease of movement around this upper deck was a really important part of the design of Club M. It's lovely and clear, spacious, and there's a great link aft to forward, as we'll find out in a moment. And here we begin to pick up on some of the craftsmanship on board this yacht. This base around the hot tub took 2 months to design and build alone, and it starts off that beautiful curvature that we are going to see a lot of on board this boat, specifically with the Achille Salvagni interior. Now you'll see there's a crane over on this side, so you can lift a tender up on here if you want to. As it stands, this boat's rescue tender actually lives in the tender garage, which we'll look at later on, and it also has a Fjord 36 chase boat for when it's out and about. But let's start moving around these decks and enjoying these living spaces, shall we? The hot tub is obviously a real focal point. It's a beautiful design. Really like the inserts of glass either end, so you can almost look through it and see out through the back of the boat. It's a great effect. And then we have split bars over here, sink and cooling space over on this side, and this is where the grille lives. Again, look at the curvature here. You will not see sharp lines on deck or on the interior of this yacht. It's all about soft angles. Nice big grille here. And then this is clever, because you can open it all up, because you have drop-down windows on either side. You have the vane-style sunroof too, but you can also fully enclose this. All the windows come up, you have covers for the back, you have covers forward, so you can fully enclose this area if you want to. It makes it incredibly flexible. And talking of flexibility, it's the same with the tables. They're twins, but they twist and then they open up, so you can make them into one huge table if everybody wants to dine up here on the upper deck. Opposite, a little sofa, some beautiful detailing as well with these cabinets on either side, and there's a television that pops up on the starboard side too. Moving forward, there is a helm station on this deck. We've got wing stations all over the place. There's a pilot house that we're going to look at in a moment as well. But very nice on a yacht of this size to have a proper flybridge helm. It's commanding, it's well specified as well. You haven't got the number of screens that you've got downstairs. 2 big MFDs, beautiful Baglietto steering wheel, 2 throttles, thrusters, all the normal controls. But you've got a great view over that bow from up here. And a nice big bench as well. So if guests want to keep the skipper company while the boat's on passage, they can do that. There's a seat over on the other side too, as well as boarding gates either side. So you can get onto deck from here without having to walk around the back of the boat, which is what we're going to do now. I talked about the ease of movement around this area, and these symmetrical side decks on either side are a very important part of that. The width of these you'd expect to find on a 60-metre yacht, not a 40-metre yacht. So it makes the flow fore and aft very easy for passengers to move around, easy for crew to move around. And I talked about the wing stations as well. We have them on both sides. We're obviously on the port side here, and the skipper has everything that he needs here to control the boat when he's doing close quarters manoeuvring. Both bow and stern thruster, throttles, engine information as well, and obviously a great view down the side of the boat, but also a great view fore and aft, of course. And the nice thing about these is you touch a button down here and they sink right down to the deck. There's covers for them as well, so when they're not in use, you can't see that they're there when you're off the boat. It's a very slick piece of design. Moving forward further, we have another really important living space aboard Club M. She hasn't got a sun deck, so this is going to get a lot of use in weather like this, and there's a lovely mix of spaces up here. Pure sunbathing space further aft, and then this really nice sofa area here that you drop down into. Great sight lines on deck on Club M. She's a very sleek, sort of low-lying deck up here, so you have excellent views all around. And this is such a nice space with these twin tables. They move up and down as well, so you can adjust them depending on what you're wanting to do. And there's full canopies for this area as well. So if you do want some shade, you can pop those up if you'd like to. This space here, you can see there's a huge panel of glass. That is very important for delivering natural light down to the owner's suite, which we're going to look at later on in the video. If we just run down these steps here on the port side, we come to some of my favourite bits of detailing on the exterior of Club M, and those are these lovely railings. You see how they sort of rake backwards to give a little bit of dynamism. They don't clash with the lines of the boat. From the outside when the boat's running along, they look absolutely lovely, and of course the craftsmanship is stunning. And you haven't got solid stainless steel rails running along the back either, you've got cords. A little bit thinner, just again making sure that the view out is as good as possible when you're using these areas on deck. And then moving right forward, we have the working area. Now underneath a hatch here, it's a big storage space, big enough to have a jet ski and a crane inside it, and this is the working area, so twin anchors, all the deck bollards and boarding gates up here, which you don't often see. Now before we go and check out the spectacular interior, let's drop down a deck and have a look at the cockpit. Now in terms of access between the outside decks, there's obviously this staircase here that links up to the upper deck from the cockpit. There's also access through the Pilothouse, so the forward end of that deck, but there's also this clever little area down here where there's a ladder that links these two decks, so the crew can easily pass between the two decks without necessarily having to use this staircase or the forward staircase if the guests are using the living spaces up there. Now the cockpit itself is huge. I know it's a 40-metre yacht, the spaces should feel large, but this area really does, because there's no cabinetry in this area. Often you might find a bar here or some storage. Not on Club M. This is all just lovely open space, but you've still got a huge table. So look at the width of it. Obviously it opens out as well if you want to dine here, and at the touch of a button it will drop down or it'll rise up depending whether you're having drinks or dining. You can adjust the height of the table however you want to, and a big overhang as well, so it's really well protected, and like upstairs you can see the runner in the deck head here, so you can fully enclose this area with covers if the weather isn't so good. But this isn't the only bit of living space in this area, because we've also got a beach club. Let's have a look at that. And there's equal access up between these two decks, slightly wider here on the port side because the passerella's on that side, and that obviously draws back into the steps on the starboard side there. Very nice to see a proper shower when you come out after a swim. You've got a decent shower overhead so you can wash off very easily. And in this form, this platform looks quite short, but don't worry about that, because this entire transom door folds down to reveal the beach club, and through that access to the tender garage, and also creates a really big extended platform for when the boat is on anchor. Now I've teased it enough, I think we should head inside and have a look at this interior. In contrast to the clean, sharp lines of Club M's exterior, the Achille Salvagni interior is a cornucopia of flowing shapes and soft edges. The materials are bold and interesting, including limed oak, dark eucalyptus, polished fascias and parchment in place of leather. Christie Yachts, who has the central agency for Club M, describes her interior as having the best interior detailing they've seen from an Italian yard. Arriving into the saloon of Club M is really unlike any other 40-metre yacht. You have this almost reception area here where you've got a couple of nice chairs, some artwork picked out on the wall, this cabinet over on the port side, and we begin to see the curvature and the shapes that you can expect from Achille Salvagni's interiors. And I've experienced his interiors on smaller production yachts. Azimuth worked with him for a long time. On smaller boats it can feel a little bit busy. On something the size of Club M, all of these shapes have plenty of room to breathe. They can stretch out, really make the most of the space, and you will not see a hard angle in here. It's all about soft lines and, yeah, circles, curvature. That is the theme. But it's practical as well, because it means that yes, the sofas curve around like this, but it's a sociable way to have the sofas arranged rather than everything being down one side of the saloon. There are wine fridges on either side back here as well, and the TV pops out from that cabinet too, so it's, in a good place for these seats to be able to view it. Down this side we have access to crew spaces, Galley, Pilothouse. We'll look at those in a moment, but I want to stay on the main deck because there's much more to enjoy in terms of the design, the use of materials, gold leaf, parchment instead of leather, this beautiful tabletop. And again, the lighting is stunning. Lighting is a big feature of Salvagni's work. This indirect stuff in the ceiling is lovely. We'll see as we walk through the boat, there are even more outstanding light pieces as we go through the interior. You can see an example of the gold leaf over on this side. Moving forward, down this passageway is access to the guest cabins. But as we move forward, we come to what is a bit of a microcosm of Salvagni's design on this yacht. You have, again, lovely curvature. You see where the walls meet the ceiling? Curves, these patterns here picked out in this bulkhead that also very neatly disguise the day head on this deck, and the finish in there is absolutely lovely, beautifully executed. And moving right forward, we arrive at the owner's quarters, which has got a pocket door here to close it off from this area behind me. And what a great space this is when you first walk in. It's a study. You've got the desk here, beautiful view out through this picture window. Little chaise longue as well, so you can pick a book off the shelf and recline and have a read in peace and quiet if you want to. Another pocket door in front of me which separates this study area from the main cabin, and what a main cabin it is. It's vast for a start, but there's even more playful detailing in here. I talked about the lighting earlier. Well, just look at these fixtures up in the ceiling over next to the TV. There's a couple more like that. You've got the spotlights above the bed, some lamps mounted up on the wall over there, and these lovely bedside lights as well. And just look at the way that the lime doke pushes up, flows into the ceiling to create this almost wooden capsule around the sleeping area. It is lovely. And there's one major surprise in this cabin that you may not expect to find on a 40-metre yacht, and that is a balcony. And not any old balcony. It doesn't drop down as you might expect. It actually pushes out. So there's a cassette underneath my feet that's teak laid. The whole thing pushes out, so you have a nice teak floor, bit of coverage overhead, and a totally private balcony for the owner to use. It is a lovely feature, as is the ensuite bathroom. And this really benefits from the big pane of glass that we saw up on the foredeck behind the jet ski hatch. So look at the ceiling heights in here. Where the window is, it is huge. A natural light just drenches this area. You have separate toilet and shower cubicles. I really love the flooring in those two spaces as well. That black and white striped looks fantastic. Twin sinks, of course, and this also is your walk-in wardrobe. This is all storage here, so it's part bathroom, part walk-in wardrobe, and part bureau as well. That's a nice area tucked away in that corner, again with a big picture window, so when you're doing your makeup, you've got a lovely view out. Now let's stick with the accommodation, drop down the deck and have a look at the guest cabins. As you would expect on a 40-metre yacht, you have the owner's cabin on the main deck and 4 further cabins here on the lower deck, but you have to expect the unexpected on board Club M, and that starts with this arrangement here where you have a gym. Now this can be set up as a cabin if you prefer. There are a couple of Pullman bunks that drop down from that bulkhead, so you've got a couple of beds in here, and it's got an ensuite bathroom as well. But if you want it as an exercise space, as you can see, it works perfectly for that usage. But if we cross over to the other side of the boat, you see the first proper guest cabin arrangement. It is arranged as a twin at the moment, but these berths slide together so you can make them into a double very quickly indeed. I talk about head height a lot on yachts like this, but I really want to point out how much space there is above my head throughout this lower deck. It is pretty extraordinary for a 40-metre yacht even, and there's some gorgeous detailing in these cabins. These Gaudi-esque door handles here, they're almost Hermes handbags that are attached below the TV here. I'm not sure what you're supposed to put inside them, but they are beautiful things. And it's got a lovely ensuite bathroom as well, of course totally private and enough space for a really decent separate shower cubicle. But if we move amidships, we arrive at the 2 staterooms, and as I said, expect the unexpected. There is storage nicely hidden behind these areas over here. This banister is just pure Salvagni. Again, nothing gets away with a little bit of shape, a bit of curvature. It's so beautifully executed. And then moving amidships, there are identical VIP staterooms. They're exactly the same, so I'll just show you this one. But they're just as imaginative and playful as the other interior spaces we've seen on board Club M. Big amount of storage over on that side. Beautiful bathroom as well, with the employment of these pocket doors. So It doesn't have a big bulkhead imposing on the bed. It's very open. It almost becomes part of the cabin. Now we've got this very clever LED skylight overhead. There's no daylight there, but it looks like there is. And again, you get that feeling of natural light coming down into the bathroom, which has got the split shower and toilet cubicle like you have up in the owner's cabin, and some gorgeous detailing down by the bed as well. This is actually polished stone on these lights either side. Gorgeous craftsmanship. I love the switch gear as well down here on the bedside table, which is what you control the lights with. And like the owner's cabin, they have the bespoke TVs as well. Beautiful, highly polished bureau underneath it, and when this is off, it becomes a mirror. Gorgeous stuff. Right, from here then, let's head upstairs to the Pilothouse. Well, welcome to the Pilothouse, and it's dominated by these enormous MFDs that sit towards the top of the dash. You haven't got huge windscreens, they're quite shallow and they're tall screens, so the view out isn't amazing from this area, but you have of course got the flybridge helm just up those steps that we saw earlier on, and for lots of navigation you can be guided by the electronics anyway, and that presentation is fantastic on board Club M. 4 huge screens, completely configurable. I can see cameras all over the boat here, engine information over there, charting. It's really nicely presented, and she's got some quite serious upgrades for a boat of this size. A 100 horsepower bow thruster, which will hold her steady in 25 knots of beam wind, and she'll top out with her Cat C32s at 17.5 knots. However, drop it back to 12 knots and you've got 3,500 nautical miles of range, enough to cross the Atlantic. And that's what she's about. Slow, efficient, comfortable cruising. It's always nice to see these areas at the bridge as well. Of course the crew come up and use this space to help the skipper out, but it's also a lovely area for passengers and guests to come and enjoy the ride. And this is a nice little detail. We've got the top of the champagne bottle from when she was launched. Nice to see a bit of a feature of that here up in the bridge. Let's head downstairs now though and check out the galley. At the bottom of the Pilothouse stairs you have this lobby area. That door there leads back through to the saloon, and there's a side door as well that leads onto the port side deck. And then this pantry space, coffee making facilities, a bit of storage and some cooling space over on this side. And moving forward we're in the heart of the galley. With the cooling space out there, that leaves a lot of room for storage in this area. Big bits of countertop as well, so there's enough space to prepare food, and it's always nice when Sheffy's got a good view out. There's a good window here so they can see what's going on outside the yacht as well. Impressive amount of oven space as well. You've got what's under the countertop here, there's a couple more over on this side, and really decent extraction as well. It's quite a professional feeling galley. And of course it links very well to the crew space, which is on the lower deck. Immediately at the bottom of the staircase you've got all the washing, drying, and the crew are on board, so it's working away cleaning at the moment, and also the crew quarter in space, so you can see their stuff is on show, but yeah, it's quite real, isn't it? It's nice to see how it's used day to day, and actually this is quite an impressive space for a yacht of this size. They've got a decent mess area here with a big table and a decent almost second galley. Considering they're connected to the main galley on deck, this is another useful area. In terms of sleeping space, 2 cabins forward, and the captain gets their own cabin over here on this side. Final place for us to go and look at then is the tender garage and the engine room. To access the engine room on Club M, there is a hatch here on the port side deck. Just pop open and head down inside. It's quite rare to have a shallow spiral staircase down into the engine room on a yacht this size. As you can see, 6 foot of headroom, so I can stand up in here no problem. You have the generators mounted forward here, and then in this section we are now between the 2 Caterpillar C32 engines which are either side of me, and this is quite nice. Normally this pipework would be hidden underneath either metal or fiberglass lids. Perspex lids mean you can visually inspect everything without having to lift up the floorboards. Very simple idea, but works really well. It means you can visually inspect everything very, very easily indeed. And there's a lazarette area down that side, which has things like the hydraulics and access to the shore power reel. But around this side, behind the staircase, is access back to the tender garage and the Beachclub. Now this is where the rescue tender would live. There's a garage door over on that side. You can see you've got the crane overhead so you can pull the tender in and out. As I mentioned previously, the boat runs with the Fjord 36 chase boats. That really is just a rescue tender. that they keep down here, but it's also where all the water sports equipment is. There's a sea bob over there and a nice big freezer as well, so we've got some extra cooling space. And then through another watertight door here, we can step through into the forward end of the Beachclub. Now obviously we're not going to see the best of this space with the door closed, we can't open it here at the show, but I want to show you it anyway. You've got a bathroom down here. This is really well placed for when people are using the bathing platform, the outside of the boat. They can come in here with wet clothes on and not worried about going into the interior. But even with the door shut, it's just such a nice space. It feels like a spa reception room in here. Beautiful use of lighting. You can just imagine when you're out anchored in the bay, that platform is down, how nicely this connects the aft end of the boat. It would be a really lovely space. Thanks very much for watching that tour of Club M. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a like if you did. And as I said, she's on the market with Christie Yachts, and we'll put a link to the listing in the description to this video. And if you like your 40-metre super yachts, we've got a nice tour of the Benetti Oasis 40-metre up here. It's called Phoenix. If you want some sea trials, put some of those down there for you. And if you would like to subscribe to the Yachtbuyer channel, you can do that by clicking up here. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next one.